Hey you guys. So today I want to talk about essay 2. So basically I'm just going to go over it with you and talk about just a couple things, and hopefully at some point I'm going to get a copy of that, like a successful copy of a paper like we did for essay 1. I don't have that right now because I've got to figure out how to get some things scanned in, and my parents keep not social distancing very well, so I don't want to go over to their house because they're making me so mad. Anyway, not the point. Let's look at your essay. So this is essay 2. Now, it is a little bit different from essay 1. Essay 1 was where you had to do a journal and blah, blah, blah. This one, it's not going to be like that at all. It's going to be completely different. So, basically, it's your run-of-the-mill literary analysis. And so, basically, what that means is you have to make an argument about a story. Now, what I'm saying is you're not going to say like, oh, I thought Edgar Allan Poe was dumb. That's not really a good argument. Basically, you're kind of looking at the nuances for an argument that that could be true, and you could also argue against it. For example, if I wanted to say the narrator and Roderick Usher were the same person in The Fall of the House of Usher, well, I feel like I could prove that, and you could also argue, Hunter, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. So, let's go ahead and get started looking at this. So then, for this assignment, I want you to write an analytical essay, and it needs to be about mostly the fiction pieces. So, you know how you couldn't talk about Man of Adamant or the creation stories? Well, you can actually talk about those in this part if it makes you feel better. So, if you don't have an argument, you will not make higher than a 70. And then for this one, I want you to have 2 academic sources. So that means I'm going to show you where I want you to get them, but that means you do have to use like the library databases to find those things. Now, I went ahead and picked a bunch of topic ideas because I think those will be kind of helpful. So, one of the things that students often find is Bartleby the Scrivener is a Herman Melville story. He's the guy who wrote Moby Dick. They find that they really like the story, and we don't read it until the end of the semester, and people say, oh, I really wish I had read this ahead of time because that's what I would write my paper on, because everybody's divided on Bartleby. So, you may want to look ahead at this one. It is long. There is a freaking wonderful YouTube video, and actually I can link it here. There's a wonderful YouTube video that kind of, it does talk about the ins and outs of it. It was made in the 60s though, but I freaking love it. So Bartleby is a good one, and I wouldn't sell it short just because it's late in the semester. Okay, so if we look at the role of marriage and family in Jacob's The Incidents of the Life of a Slave Girl, that's a fine paper to write about, but remember that the focus is the literature. So you don't want to focus on the institution of slavery unless you are talking about the literature. This paper often turns into a history paper, so I just want to let you know. Okay, if you're going to talk about transcendental pieces, obviously you cannot talk about Emerson or Thoreau because they're totally transcendentalist pieces, and I feel like you can't argue that because nobody could really argue against that. Okay, so then Gothic stories, you could talk about these with any of them, but talk about the self-knowledge as a theme. You could talk about a bunch of different themes in these. But I think a lot about Rappaccini's Daughter when I read this, and probably I would think that you could also do Fall of the House of Usher. Okay? Discuss ambiguity in Rappaccini's Daughter. And kind of what I mean with that is we talked about this a lot in class, how there's no one good guy, there's no one bad guy. And so you could kind of discuss about how there's no character that you feel truly sorry for. You could argue that. But anyway, I do say let's go ahead and stay away from that evil thing because you've already kind of done that one. So we did it in class, so let's don't talk about that one. Talk about the evolution of the slave narrative and basically think about how these stories have changed. And I'll give you like a tiny little piece of that. But in Equiano's piece, he was just, I'm going to tell the story how it happened. Then we have Jacobs who had kind of added rhetoric, a lot of rhetoric to her piece. So some of that was, it was written for white women, and so when it was written for white women, she knew how to appeal to them, and so think about that. And then Douglas, he works a lot with ambiguity, so we kind of have to think about that. That might be a harder paper. Compare Man of Adamant to Minister's Black Veil. Both of those stories are by Hawthorne. You could psychoanalyze some characters from Fall of the House of Usher. I think you may be able to do that for Washington Irving as well. And then I told you about this one in class, a cultural, socioeconomic, or feminist critique of The Legend of Sleepy Hollow. If you have questions about that, let me know. Compare Bartleby the Scrivener or On Nature to Fight Club. I don't know. I was just like, let me find another thing. So I think it could work. I think a lot of it could work. So there's a bunch of ideas. So if you like these ideas, pick one. If you want some more clarification on any of them, let me know. If you have something you'd rather talk about, please just email me so I can say yes or no, because I don't want you to have some idea that you're like, I love this idea, and maybe it's not quite an argument or you can't find the sources that you need to have. So kind of keep that in your mind. But the things you'll be graded on, obviously your thesis, your organization, sentence structure. I feel like these are not too hard. Probably the biggest thing here is your thesis and your actual analysis. So that's your actual content. And then this is going to be written in MLA, as is everything in this class. And then I'm looking at 4 to 5 pages double spaced. Okay. Now, due dates. I don't have a due date yet. I definitely don't think that it's going to be in April. I don't think it was anyway in April for your first one, but I just don't know yet because I can't make a schedule until they tell us what we're going to do with spring break. So I am sorry about that. I just wanted you to have kind of an idea so you knew where to go with that. So I am sorry about that. And as soon as I can give you a due date, I will. I just don't know if we're having spring break or not. So yikes. Anyway, so please let me know if you need any help. Now, with that being said, I want to go back to the library page. So, and y'all know I have videos for other readings, so I'm just going to keep that up there. So anyway, I want to go to my portal, and we're going to go to the library resources. And so for this class, there's really one place that I think really works the best. And so here's where you go. Go to Databases A to Z. And I go to L for literature. Everybody always makes fun of me for saying these dumb things. And then I go to the Literature Resource Center. Remember the LRC on the LRC webpage. Yay, yay, yay. Okay, so anyway, Literature Resource page. I think that's going to be the best place for you to go for almost any of your writings at this point. So it's loading up. I don't know why. Everything has been slow on Coastal's page today. Probably because we're all online doing work. Anyway, I hope y'all are doing well. I've been watching a lot of TV, hanging out with my kid a lot. I don't know. Oh, there we go. Okay, so anyway, I'm gonna look up The Fall of the House of Usher. And what we'll find here is whenever I type that one in, I know there's going to be a lot of stuff by that one because people are really crazy about that one. But there's all kinds of ideas in here. So once you kind of figure out what you want to write on, I would probably come in here and start looking at the literature. The criticism, excuse me. But these are the kind of academic sources that I'm talking about. You can also use books, but I think it's going to be harder to get books right now. So I do think you can find a lot in here. So the allegory, phrenological allegory, I think there's a lot of cool things that you could look at in here. So when you find those, if you wanted to go to House of Mirrors, Edgar Allan Poe's Fall of the House of Usher, a couple cool things that I want you to keep in mind. I like that it always highlights the story that you looked up, number one, and these are good long essays, so they'll probably have a lot of information. And here is how you cite them. And what I do usually is I just like highlight this and copy and paste it. So then I paste it in my works cited. So those are really good. And I would say this is really the only place I would look for sources for this paper. If you have any questions about that, please let me know. So remember that you are more than welcome to call me or text me. None of y'all have, so you really can. I don't care. I'm sitting at home. I'm really doing nothing. So you can call or text. I am going to try with my sister tonight to make a video for Zooming as well. So hopefully I can figure something out with that. And really, if you have any questions, please just let me know. Try to keep in contact, and hopefully I'm reading all of your funny, attendance questions. So, just let me know if you need anything. All right, y'all have a good day. Bye.